Everyone, and welcome to Bubble Tech Tips. We now have a channel name thanks to my wife, who was not happy that we didn't have a name. So when she listens to this video later, she will know it happened. Now we're going to talk a little bit about workflows. So workflows are really important because it's kind of the process that things get done. So when you go to a website like Facebook or CNN or whatever, and you click at a button, when you click that button, you trigger a workflow. And essentially, the workflow tells it to do something. So if you click a button that says log in, then normally you get a pop up that says, like, what is your username? What is your password? And you get another button that says sign me in. Well, that's a workflow. I mean, just to show the pop up is part of that workflow. So whenever we click on a button like join now, that's a workflow. You can kind of see it kind of hovers over it. And if I go to preview, I can click it and nothing happens. But you can kind of see it's wanting to do something, but it doesn't. Now, why is that? It is because it does not have a workflow. So let's add one. So anytime you click on a button twice, you get this pop-up, but you also have an option here called Start Edit Workflow. And if I click on it, it automatically clicks on this little tab, and it shows me like a little box here. Now, one tip I'll give you that they don't normally give you in the beginning is to go ahead and color code these. Once you get a web application that's like super busy, you're going to notice that these little boxes kind of flow together, and you might have 25, 30 boxes on the screen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and when you do, you get this little box over here, and you can change the color to blue or whatever color, and I kind of come up with my own system for what blue means, what green means, or whatever. So I've got it color coded, and we've got these actions. So a workflow, this is kind of like this is like the category, like when this happens. When this happens, we start doing these actions. And so the actions can be simple. Show a pop-up, show an alert, and they can get pretty complicated. Let's keep it simple for now. So we'll click on that, and let's do something easy like, let's see. What's something really easy? Refresh the page. All right, so when that button is clicked, it will refresh the page, and you're going to see a little blue bar that goes across the top when we do that. So I'm going to refresh just so we can go ahead and start with our update. So watch up here, and we're going to click join now. And oh, it's so quick. There's nothing in there. It doesn't even do a blue bar. Well, normally there's a little blue bar at refresh, but you saw it. Here we go. Let's do it again. See it blinking? It's refreshing. So it essentially just did a workflow. That was super simple. So let's do a little bit more complicated of a workflow. So that's great, but I need something for it to do. So I'm going to go back to design. Remember your little tab here, your ribbon. And I've got join now, but let's go ahead and introduce a new concept. And these are called pop-ups. So we have these containers here, and one's called a pop-up. So you click it right here and drag a little pop-up. And you get it right here. You've seen these things. And I know that we have pop-up blockers everywhere, but the truth is, if pop-ups are done right, they're super useful and important. So I'm going to go ahead and I have a little pop-up here. I'm going to add a little text box that says, Fun Join Now section. All right, so I've got Fun Join Now section, and if you're watching, you're probably thinking, well, I don't think he named the pop-up container, and you're right. So I'm going to go in here and click join now, and notice that whenever I want to name something, I just click on it, and then the box it will automatically change over. Now, this wasn't showing up. You just click twice on anything, and it would pop up. Now, if you don't see it, for example, I do this sometimes. Sometimes I'll be over here, and I'll be like, I can't get it to. It's like hidden because Bubble's really sensitive about when you open it up. It's gonna notice your resolution, and it's gonna try to load everything within that resolution. So if you move the box smaller, Bubble doesn't always know that. So sometimes you have to refresh your browser if you make it smaller or whatever. Sometimes it won't even show up if it's too small. So we've got that there. It looks terrible. So let's go ahead and take it out of that style that we have, and let's make it centered, bold. We'll mark the font up, maybe 24. Oh, that's great. That's just such a good looking thing. And Bubble has this programmed to, if you click out here, it's going to close. You can get rid of that option, but if you click anywhere outside of it, it's going to close. I usually keep it. It's pretty great. But something I'll just go ahead and give you a little tip. something I've noticed about users and usability is if you're dealing with, let's just say, I don't know, older generation, they don't understand to click out, and so they don't know how to close this. I know that sounds crazy, but they don't. And this is really a usability thing. You want your app to work for everyone, and we just do. I mean, just because it looks good to you doesn't mean it'll work for everyone. So I try to add multiple ways to do things. So that's probably a little bit too red, but let's. If you saw, I grabbed that icon and I just drew a little icon. Not too complicated. But when you do that, you have different options for styling it, and that's what's really cool about Bubble. They pre-build these. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I have a bunch of icons I can choose from. And sometimes you can get lucky here and just like type in like exit, and that didn't work. Close. There we go. So we got this little X here. That looks a lot better, right? So now we've got that pop up. We've got that little X, and if I click on that, it'll close, right? Wrong. It will not close because there's no workflow. And so this is part of teaching what workflow is. It really deals with anything you want to interact with, anything you want done. There has to be a workflow to it. So I know it sounds tedious, but we've got that X there, and I'm going to click on Start Edit Workflow. Now remember I said color code this. Well, this one, since it's an exit, I'll just make it red. And we want it to do something. So when we click this X, we want it to close this. And so that's called Pop-Up Join Now. So let's go back to the workflow. And really, I'm going to teach you this way for now. Click it, Edit Workflow, and it'll take you right back. So we're going to do something different. So whenever the close button is clicked, we're going to go down these little actions, and it's probably an element action because that's an element. A pop-up is an element. So I'm going to hide it, right? So we'll hide, and it asks, what element do you want to hide? I want to hide the pop-up join now. We got lucky, it's right there. And that's it. That's the whole workflow. But wait, there's one more thing. We've got that as the workflow. But, we really don't have anything to show it. So we got to go back here. Let's get rid of this, refresh the page. So there's a little delete button right here. And let's do show something. And I bet you're thinking, well, I already know how to do this now. So show pop-up join now. And there we go. Let's preview this thing. Let's look at our awesome website and look at our basic workflow. Click it. Boom. We have a pop-up. And if I click this, we close the pop-up. And that's a workflow. Super basic, but that'll give you an idea of how it works. Thanks.